We have a winning combination anytime we have Elliot Friedman on, our insider. So the Sens lock up pieces of their young core. It's a recurring theme. Now it's Jake Sanderson, the extension. Can you give us some insight into Ottawa's thought process behind this signing?
Well, the one thing I really believe, honestly, Tony, is that if you believe you have a good key young player, you sign them for as long as you can. And because the prices never go down. If you look at Sanderson last year, and I heard you guys talking about him, you take a look at what do you have, 2 penalty minutes playing against some of the best players in the league. He is an elite player. Now, I think the biggest debate about this contract is how early it came. If you take a look at it, he's played 77 NHL games and he just signed for $64 million. That's almost unheard of. You know, one team that's done that is Minnesota. They signed Kaprizov for $9 million a year after 55 games, and they signed Boldy for $7 million a year after after 89 games. Now those are offensive players. They put up counting numbers. Sanderson doesn't have the counting numbers, but I think there's a lot of people around the league who feel that this is a player who will live up to that contract. And like I said, when you have somebody you consider a key part of your team, a cornerstone, you sign them for as long as you can, as quick as you can, because the price never goes down.
And the price is constant in the case of this one. We just saw the contract details. Help us understand it being a quote-unquote even deal, not front or back loaded.
Well, it's interesting because this is a new owner. Like Mike Andlauer is going to be buying the Senators officially. The hope is he will take over next week. He was sort of at a team event today. So the thing that I look at and say that is the most interesting thing about it is this the way that he's going to try to do contracts? And, I think one of the things in this particular case, I think a lot of players, they want bonuses. They want it front loaded because escrow's locked in. But this is a case where I guess you could say the player wins and the team wins because there aren't big bonuses and it's flat. So I wonder if this is a window into the way the Senators' new ownership is going to try to do things. Sometimes you need to see more than one contract to figure it out, though.
It looks like you just woke up from a nap, so I'm going to tell you that Shane Pinto's future is still up in the air. Give us the latest on his contract situation, please.
Tony, I can tell you this, whether it's 7 in the morning or 7 in the evening, I always look like this. So it's like, I don't have to wake up to look like this. I have to say, I had just heard, I think Ottawa's trying to make a move or two to open up some cap room. They only have about 895,000 of cap room, and Shane Pinto's not going to sign for that. So I've heard some trade talk has picked up around the league right now. It's pretty simple. You look at situations where teams are tight to the cap or they have too many players at a certain position. I think Ottawa's looking around to see what they can do to open up some cap room to get Pinto done, because I just don't think the player is going to sign for $900K, and they know that, so they have to figure something out.
Makes sense as we look at the salary cap details for Ottawa. Brings to mind there are still several restricted free agents other than Pinto waiting on contracts around the league, most notably Trevor Zegras, still unsigned. What have you been hearing lately on him?
Well, we should mention that one did sign today, Morgan Frost. And, I think Morgan Frost was a player who simply said, look, I want to be in Philadelphia at the start of camp. I want to get off on a good, he had a big finish to last year, but he's still establishing himself as a player. And I think when, he didn't want to tempt the John Tortorella gods, and he didn't want to be late. So he wanted to get that deal done and get in there. Zegras, like I told you earlier in the week, the talk is it's going to be a bridge deal. Not a long-term deal. I do think we're going to see something done. At this point in time, I have no reason to believe that Zegras won't be ready for the start of the season, but I'm under the impression it's going to be a bridge and not a long-term deal.